Dímelo, mi gente. ¿Cómo están? ¿Cómo están? We're going straight live into this live stream. I have a very busy day today, so that we're just gonna go right into this coverage. So we're gonna talk about today how it looks like several of the U.S. World Cup host cities are struggling to find the funding to be able to host not just a full 39-day fan festival for the 2026 World Cup, but just any sort of fan festival. And there is a lot of politics involved in this. So if you don't like politics, well, oh, well, so sad because this is literally coming from Politico, one of the top political publications here in Washington D.C. and in the country. They do manage to both piss off Democrats and Republicans. So this is a type of publication of that sort. But it is informative when they do their work right. And it looks like the work that they've been doing regarding this World Cup is just highlighting how fiscally difficult it has been for some of these host cities to get the amount of money that they need to host the fan festivals, which I know for many of us who are fans of the World Cup, fans of soccer, these are like absolutely one of the most required events any host country has to host in order to actually have a World Cup. They have to have fan festivals available. But according to this reporting by Politico, and it does corroborate a lot with the information that I have by virtue of not having it, the cities that are struggling with funding for these fan festivals are, and in no particular order, Miami. Miami has no money whatsoever to fund a fan festival, even though a couple of weeks ago I did say on my socials that they announced that they were funding a full 39-day fan festival at Bayfront Park. They said that, but they don't have the money. Okay, they are going through a $400 million budget deficit that they have yet to resolve. My folks in Miami have not heard any information regarding how they're going to, not only overcome this $400 million budget deficit for the county, but I would even say more importantly, where the hell is this money going to come from for this fan festival? They have not indicated that situation. I apologize. This thing has been in complete mute. Oh my goodness. And I didn't even see the chat happening. All right. We're going to have to cut the first 2 minutes of this video, basically, because y'all been hearing anything. Good. You haven't been hearing anything. Okay. So, thank you all for joining today. Clearly, I was warming up my vocals in order to have this video going. So, you probably saw me for talking for 2 minutes, but I'll probably just cut that out at the end. So as you're watching this, we'll go from there. Okay, it looks like we're good. We're good with the mic and everything. I noticed the video, the audio was not working, and I noticed no one was chatting anything. So we'll go from here. All right, let's restart. It looks like 5 of the World Cup host cities in the United States do not have the funds or have not informed, 5, I should say 6, have not informed the public as to what exactly their fan festival plans are going to be, okay? And this information, this comes from Politico, so if you don't like, talking about politics and everything like that, well, I don't know what to tell you. Politics pretty much has a very big hand in this entire process. And so, again, this is based on not only reporting here from this article from Politico, but based on my own reporting by the fact that I have not been able to meet or get any information from these World Cup host committees. The cities in question are Miami, Atlanta, Seattle, San Francisco, Los Angeles, and Kansas City. Okay? Now, some of these cities have announced that they were going to do something. But as we're going to get into it, they might announce, and they have announced, that they're going to host a host party. Not watch party, FIFA Fan Festival. Okay? But they don't have the money. Straight up, they do not have the money to host a FIFA Fan Festival. And so now with 282 days to go, what the hell are these cities going to do regarding this fan festival. Okay, so we're going to be talking about the fan festivals first. We're going to go to about 2:20 p.m. today Eastern time, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so let's review this Political article because I did not go in full detail about this yesterday in my short form video regarding the socials, but y'all are pretty aware that Congress did approve $625 million in security funding for the 11 host cities. Yet the problem with that money is that it is completely exclusively only to be used for security measures. The host cities cannot use those $625 million for anything else. They cannot use it for the fan festivals. They cannot use it for any legacy projects. They cannot use it for anything else but security. We're going to see the reason why that is the case later on in this article. So with that in mind, local governments still have to find the money to cover other expenses that could run up to $150 million per city. And I think as someone already commented, what did these cities expect? And this is probably the reason why you had cities like Chicago bow out of this process to host World Cup matches early on, okay? Back in 2021, 22, so on and so forth. Actually, even earlier than that, I should say, back when they submitted the bid book for 2018. Because they recognized that this was going to be a very expensive endeavor for their cities. And so they did not want to be part. They did not want to have any part of this, okay? So it looks like the first major area is Santa Clara, San Francisco, the Bay Area, okay? They are having an insane amount of trouble to get the money necessary to be able to fund the fan festival for their area, okay? Texas has been able somewhat to make up the money, okay? Houston and Dallas are tapping into tens of millions of dollars from Texas's Major Events Reimbursement Program Fund. Kansas City is considering a new hotel tax. I do have them listed here as one of the 6 cities that do not have a fully set up plan, even though for Kansas City, they did say they were going to host their World Cup Fan Fest at the World War I National Museum. But they haven't announced, at least as far as I've been aware or told, is it going to be for the entire 39 days? Is it going to be free? What is going to be the cost there? But they're looking to set up a new hotel tax. And then Massachusetts Governor Maura Healey put in a supplemental budget request for $20 million to be spent in coordination with FIFA based on their needs. Some host cities have already started to cut back on the World Cup dreams, especially around these fan festivals, while all of the host cities in Canada and Mexico have committed to hosting watch parties for the entire duration of the 39 days of the tournament. Fewer than half of those in the U.S. have. And so, of course, the 5 that I can report on today with confidence are Boston, New York, New Jersey, Philadelphia, Houston, and Dallas. They have all said that they are going to be hosting 39-day fan festivals. And based on the question here, are they free or do you have to pay? At least for these 5, they would be free. Okay? But as we're going to see in the article, they might be charging to go to a fan festival in the other 6 cities, again, because of the lack of money that exists in order to fund these events. Did they not know that they were making a deal with the devil? Clearly, they thought they could play around with the devil, but now they're getting, pretty much a rude awakening, shall we say, in that respect, okay? So that's what it looks like what is happening here, okay? So some host cities, we already did that point. The others are likely to either shrink their festival's length or consider other ways to engage non-ticketed fans. At least 2 U.S. host committees have probably confronted FIFA over its lack of support on expenses like staging and entertainment, according to 2 people familiar with planning at the local level, which to me is surprising, okay? That should not have been a surprise whatsoever to these World Cup host committees. With all due respect to them, the fact that I do want to work with them and everything, yes, I would love to bring fans to their cities, but this seems very naive, to say the least. That you did not expect these expenses, that you did not expect FIFA was going to act in this way, seems very naive, okay? FIFA acts like a nonprofit, but it spends like a venture capitalist corporation, okay? Like, they are the typical Jekyll and Hyde type of organization. Okay, they want to be a nonprofit when they want to be a nonprofit. But geez, Louise, you start messing with their money, forget it. Okay, they will act all hella capitalist when it comes to that. So these problems are being most evident in California. So that means San Francisco and Los Angeles are the two cities that we might see the I would say the smallest fan festivals in regards to size, in regards to time period, length, etc., etc. Okay, the International Federation. Excuse me. Here we go. So. Where the state's refusal to deliver more funding to two venues due to its own budget problems have driven the Los Angeles organizers to consider their own watch parties beyond FIFA's control, which FIFA does not want. FIFA does not want. See, and this is a situation where FIFA demands its cake, it demands it eats it the way it does, and it demands the utensils and to eat said cake. FIFA wants things to be done their way, 100% of the way, or else these cities cannot participate. That is how FIFA operates. And again, this should not have been as a surprise to these host cities that this is how FIFA wants to react. Okay, so the dispute provides a window into the larger structural imbalance. Has been a source of ongoing friction between FIFA and the host cities. FIFA controls nearly all of the state of the event's lucrative revenue streams: global sponsorships, ticket sales, in-stadium advertising, broadcasting rights. The host committees are on the hook for major public-facing costs, from policing and transportation to now weeks of free entertainment for tens of thousands of fans. So again, this is how FIFA acts like a nonprofit, right? Oh, we make money off of these things because this is our thing, but then demands all these other aspects of the World Cup to be provided by the cities, so then they don't have to act like a capitalist, like a corporation, and have to fund for those things too. Because again, they want to increase as much revenue while decreasing costs. What a perfect way to do that, by being a nonprofit, which is very ironic. Granted, as a person that has worked in the nonprofit industry here in DC for over 10 years, studied at George Mason University. I got my master's in public administration. I know a thing or two about working in nonprofits, being in the nonprofit sector. This is kind of like the best case scenario for a nonprofit. Increase your revenues so that way you can provide these good things for people, right? And again, you're not necessarily profiting yourself, although we could kind of easily make, or point out things that, FIFA have done in the past that are very much corrupt, but increase those revenues while reducing these costs or passing on those costs to other entities. And that is exactly what's happening here. Okay. Now, at the meeting that they had last week, this is an older picture. This is from May 6th, by the way. The task force, the World Cup task force from the White House, said that the federal government was only going to give money for security, but nothing else. Okay. So that's it. All that $625 million is going towards security. It is not going to help the host cities with anything else but security. And of course, it makes of course all the sense in the world that this World Cup was going to go corporate. It was going to grow in size. They're looking to make as much money as they possibly can. Okay, but here the difference between the '94 World Cup and this World Cup in 2026 is the decentralized nature of this event. The 11 host cities where water matches have independent relationships with FIFA. So there's no one entity. Even though we do have that White House task force, if you look at the makeup of that White House task force, it is very much leaning on security. Department of Homeland Security, FBI, CIA, ICE, all those agencies are leaning onto that. Okay. So we're not, that money was never going to go towards improving tourism, improving infrastructure, and hosting the fan festivals, nothing of that nature. Okay. So then that has created a very decentralized World Cup organization here for 26, where each of these 16 cities, and granted, we're focusing only on the US cities here, they have had to focus on working with FIFA directly as opposed to anything else, right? There's no central command, right? As there was in Qatar, as it was in Russia, okay? So what has happened, okay, is that each city is now facing issues with their relationship with FIFA. So based on those relationships, the city could either be getting, money and support and other considerations from FIFA, or they could just be having a piss poor relationship with them. So, for example, the Bay Area Host Committee agreed to pay $25 million to modify Levi's Stadium. While FIFA has assumed responsibility for exterior fencing at stadiums, according to officials, interior modifications typically convert football fields for soccer use fall to local organizers. The host agreement obligates the committee to provide free public transportation for ticket holders, police escorts for dignitaries, and no-cost security, fire, and medical services. I doubt this is going to happen, the free public transportation for ticket holders, because it's not going to happen in New York, New Jersey. That I can confirm, because New Jersey's residents, rightfully so, balked at the idea that they were going to have to pay more for their public transit to subsidize fans coming in for them to have it for free. I agree with that, okay? You can't make poor people pay more for this public transportation, okay? Okay, so that is what's happening in San Francisco. And again, there's no information to indicate that San Francisco has announced a host location or anything like that. If anyone from the San Francisco World Cup host committee is watching this and they want to send that information, by all means, I'm happy to report that. And Los Angeles, remember that situation where Kroenke basically got into a pissing match with Infantino about them not hosting the World Cup final. Well, that unfortunately really spoiled the relationship, which pretty much has made it a very dicey one to work with. So LA doesn't have a good relationship with FIFA. LA, apparently through other sources that I've been talking to, they're telling me they're getting ready for the Olympics and not really the World Cup. So in a way, LA, why do you have the World Cup then? If the focus is on the Olympics, then why have the World Cup, right? You're kind of using just this World Cup as kind of like as an exercise or as a practice for the Olympics then at that point. And the funny thing is, right, or I should say the irony in this entire situation, okay, is that the irony is people would rather have the World Cup than the Olympics, given the political situation in the country. LA is definitely not a fan of the Trump administration. So it's just so odd how everything is so disjointed right now with LA and FIFA, because people would rather, I think, in my opinion, have the World Cup, or rather, because the World Cup is here, there's really not much else you can do. You might, and then you're getting ready for the Olympics. I don't know what it is, okay? So FIFA has silently monitored how host committees are allowed to raise money and offset their costs, which with the biggest point of tension surrounding sponsorships. So FIFA has claimed that most commercially viable categories like beverages and autos for itself, leaving host committees to sell only limited local packages in less consumer-oriented sectors like real estate and utilities. Think of and even then, FIFA took Airbnb, for example. So these governments are having to find sponsors, but FIFA took already all the big money sponsors. So basically, who the F is sponsoring the local host committees? For some cities, obviously New York and Philadelphia, that has been rather easy for them. For other cities, that has been the problem. Whereas FIFA sells global sponsorship packages between $50 and $100 million, host committee supporter program deals have been typically priced between $3 to $5 million. If you're to be very tight about what FIFA is willing to give the host committees, you can't also impose multi-million-dollar requirements on top of their core costs. So again, this is the problem. FIFA wants un pinche party, pero they're basically giving or preventing the host cities from spending, or from being able to acquire the resources to host said pinche party, right? You can't do both. And that's what some of these host cities are realizing. Although to be fair, or maybe not to be fair, to be critical, mindful, these cities should have expected that from FIFA. This is nothing new from FIFA. This is straight from FIFA's MO. This is what they do. Chat, this is exactly what they do. So the overall price tag to put on matches is expected to run between $100 million and $200 million per city, okay? And that is per game. Not per game. Depending on the matches, right? FIFA argues that the local committees knew what they were taking in when they signed the host agreements, and that the federation's Miami-based team has been working with committees to identify cost savings. So FIFA is saying, look, we told you this is how we operate. We told you, so don't act surprised. Okay? But it looks like the cities have been surprised. Okay? Georgia will host, which will host a semifinal at Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz Stadium, has allocated $25 million for public safety and security infrastructure. Washington set aside $47 million. Miami-Dade County, as I've reported, pledged $46 million, but then they're needing to take back $10 million of that money. Congress approved the $625 million for security only. And here's where the politics comes in, okay? The effing White House insisted that this money only be used in security issues because they don't want to give it to sanctuary cities, blah, blah, blah. It's like, what in the F are y'all talking about? These cities needed all this money for all these different reasons, and now you're basically, taking one of their knees out, in effect, by saying, no, you can only use this money in security when these cities and states have already pledged set millions of dollars for security reasons. Okay? This is not going to be a slush fund that a leftist politician can use for whatever they like. It's the political bullshit that they're implementing, okay? Again, for those of you that watch my content, that follow me, thank you for understanding where I'm coming from with this. They are inserting their right-wing politics into this money, okay? It would have just been $625 million. You cities figure out how to use this money to make sure everything's organized. The Trump administration is trying to put in their ideology, their political bullshit into that money, and now basically the cities can only use it for security. So how over-policed are these World Cup games going to be? It is going to be crazy over-policed. Oh, but the buses ain't working. Oh, but the fan festival, the fucking TV doesn't work anymore. That's basically what's going to end up happening here. And this is all fault to the Trump administration. Okay? Oh, we're going to make sure the money's actually accountable, because the leftist politicians, spend all their money, on fucking food for seniors. Like, who needs that? Or, school lunches. Like, who needs that? Like, cosa de idiotas, bro. Cosa de idiotas, bro. All right? So that's what's going on. Again, South Florida, as I've reported, the city of Fort Lauderdale has already moved $350 previously assigned to World Cup expenses back to its homelessness budget because, again, these are more important things than hosting this damn soccer game. But also, again, these cities and these regions knew that this is how FIFA fucking operates. So this is the football determinism that is going on. Okay? These host cities are just insisting that the money's going to be there because the fans are going to come, because the money's going to be there, and they have just run up against this buzzsaw of the Trump administration and their anti-tourism policies and their anti-immigration policies and their overall bullshit. And now these cities are like, fuck, how the hell do we fund this? That is what's going on here, okay? Like I said, Miami-Dade County, they need to claw back $10 million back because they're going to cut the entire arts program for the county for fiscal year 25-26, which, if anything, that's what Miami needs, more arts project funding, because that is one key part of our local economy. O sea, it's like dropping a nuclear bomb onto your own economy to have some freaking soccer games happening for 6 weeks. Okay? Many local organizers across the country worry that they'll never be able to make it all add up. With the deficit saddled by wealthy stadium owners designated as host committee financial backstop in California, the Rams and Niners have aggressively lobbied Sacramento to increase the $10 million allocated in direct support for World Cup operations. So also these rich asshole owners don't want to pay for anything. They don't. Okay? They don't. Okay? Unable to cut back transportation security costs without jeopardizing public safety, American host cities face a budget crunch and are looking first at the fan festivals. They can cost up to $1 million each day per city. So that's why the title of this live stream, $1 million a day. These fan festivals, este pinche party que se quieren hacer esta gente, va a valer $1 millón de pinches dólares, bro. Cha, eso es inexcusable, eso es imposible, mi gente. ¿Cómo así que van a cobrar $1 millón de dólares, bro? $1 million to host a fucking watch party, bro? ¿Qué necesitan? ¿Un pinche TV grande? Pongan some beach towels y unas agüitas. That's going to cost us $1 million. Multiplied by 39 days, $39 million. Each city, 300, what is it? That's 390. That would have been 10 cities. So 390, another 39. Over $400 million that the United States host cities would be spending on for these fan festivals. Chat, let me know in the comments what you think about that. I'm gonna stop here, give myself a little break. $400 million to spend on these on these fan festivals. Let me know what you think about that in the chat. You know, $400 million. Okay, I'll get to your questions at the end. We'll review this article and we'll get to that at the end. They want everyone to put on a fan festival, but they're saying you can't commercialize it, and that's the problem. FIFA, again, wants to have their cake, and they want to eat it the way they do, blah, 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 blah. And again, these cities should not have been surprised by that, okay? In order to wrap this up, I mean, these issues have happened before. You know, Recife wanted to not pay $8.5 million. They ended up paying $4.5 million to host a watch party, okay? FIFA, again, is saying that they've told these host cities, which, to be fair, Mexico, Vancouver, excuse me, I should say Monterrey, Vancouver, Toronto, Guadalajara, Ciudad de Mexico, they know how to put the party. But I guess they know how to budget better. Okay? Philly is committing $30 million in city funds for events related to America's 250th, including the Fan Festival celebration at Lemon Hill. Dallas and Houston, again, they're taking from that Texas Major Events Reimbursement Program. New York, New Jersey said that they're going to maintain their fan festival. Okay? They recognized that that was very important for them and for the region. Okay? But now, here's the problem. The Federation is considering the possibility of allowing the host committees to generate revenue by selling fan festival tickets. So that means some of these fan festivals could be charging people to go to the fan festival. A first in FIFA's history. Can you believe that bullshit, mi gente? This will be the first World Cup where some of the World Cup host cities might charge you to go to the fan festival. Because by their own lack of planning and or the idioticness of the Trump administration making $625 million only available for security purposes because quote-unquote leftist policies, whatever the reason you want to put it to, and it's actually all of them combined, has possibly resulted us in this situation. So, Miami, Atlanta, Seattle, San Francisco, Los Angeles, and Kansas City right now are the 6 cities that we do not know what their fan festival situation is going to be. If they want to reach out to me and tell me what their plan is, by all means, I'll update my reporting accordingly on my socials. I will do so. I'm not here to sink any one World Cup city's hopes. I am a little bit more pissed off at Miami just because that's my hometown. Miami, you want to tell me how you're going to fund this fan festival, este party de 39 millones de dólares, when you got a $400 million budget deficit? Come talk to me. I'm available by phone, by email, by everywhere. You want to do it by socials? We can do a live interview if you want. But this idea of selling fan festival tickets just completely breaks the vibe. Like, for that matter, I should have been in Qatar the entire damn month. Fan festivals all around for free. Not even just in Qatar. In the UAE, I went to several fan festivals in Dubai, in Abu Dhabi. Now what? Okay? Most cities haven't definitely told us this is exactly what we're doing. They don't know. At least a half dozen cities are planning to keep on festivals open only on days when the tournament is active at the most. Seattle and Boston are even weighing whether to host watch parties without the official Fan Fest branding. Boston did say they're going to host the 39 days, but it might look a little different. Seattle, I believe, has been on record, even though they haven't fully confirmed, saying that they might only host it for about 20 to 25 days as opposed to the entirety of the 39 days. And again, LA, what's their plan? Maybe a community engagement model, which means in reality, We just don't have the money, so let's just set up smaller activations. Which, look, to be fair, that might make more sense to people. It's going to look different, for sure. Okay? And again, it's all, in some ways, Trump's fault. Yeah, they might outsource to different cities. Exactly. So, mi gente, that is where we're at with the fan festivals. The fact that they might end up charging fans to go to the fan festival in 2026 is simply ridiculous. It is simply, man, oh man, oh man. Hey, FIFA, hey, yo, FIFA. Listen, like I know you want. I know you want I know you want to have all the money, FIFA. I know. I get it. It's your tournament. It's your thing, right? But holy shit, like y'all can't spare some of that money. Chat, let me know. Let me know what you think. All right, let me know what you think in the chat. All right, let me know what you think. What is it? What is it that you have thoughts, opinions on this? Happy to talk about some other topics for another 15 minutes before we do got to end it. But let me know what you think, folks. These are the 6 cities. Okay, again, Miami, Atlanta, Seattle, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Kansas City. They might not have full-fledged 39-day fan festivals. So if your travel plans, including going to these cities and the idea that you were going to, be there and enjoy the fan festivals, now you're going to want to hold off on buying your travel yet to these 6 cities. And let's wait and see exactly when and where they're going to be hosting their fan festival. Because if none of these 6 cities do inform the public in the next couple of weeks, hey, we're going to host a fan festival between these dates and at this location, and if your plan was basically factoring in these fan festivals, that's something you have to think about. Okay, that is something you're going to have to take into consideration as, again, you organize your travels for 2026. Okay, so again, Miami, Atlanta, Seattle, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Kansas City, not fully confirmed whether they are going to have fan festivals and or how they're going to fund them. Miami, of this list, Miami's the only one that said, yes, they are going to do a 39-day fan festival, but they do not have the funding for it. So I would say that's a TBD. Seattle has been on record saying it might be a short, not full 39 days. The other 4 cities, I do not know. Again, for those World Cup host committees that are watching this on YouTube, if you want to provide that information, please, you got my email, you got my socials, you know where to find me, okay? Feel free to provide that information. I'm happy to inform my community of almost 80,000 followers now. We're basically almost selling out every stadium, almost. It's at MetLife, AT&T, and Azteca, I think. I think we just passed Energy Stadium's capacity, if not Arrowhead. One of them two, okay? But I know we got 3 stadiums left that we got to sell out. MetLife, Azteca, and AT&T. So we're now 13 out of 16 we're selling out. You want to let all that entire community know what's up with your fan festivals, please reach out to me. All right, chat. Let's talk about some other topics as well. Go ahead, type in your questions in the chat. This is only a YouTube-only chat. So go ahead and ask your questions here. Can't these cities with backing from their states just force sue FIFA to make things cheap or affordable? No, because they signed the contract. See, FIFA came in with their own contract, okay? And FIFA basically said, you will sign this contract with us. You want to have the World Cup, these are the requirements. Sign right here, and that's what you have to do. So no, there really isn't a legal recourse for these host cities in terms of reducing the requirements to host said event. But also, if you kind of think about it, right, it is a kind of a buyer's remorse type of situation. Yeah, I mean, like, what's the court's gonna say, bro? You signed a contract. What's the court's gonna say? Like, oh yeah, you shouldn't have signed that contract. Like, like, nah, man, this is totally on the cities. They knew what they were getting into. There's no way around that. They knew what they were getting into. Okay. So this is definitely a totally different situation where this isn't it, man. This is not it. So yeah, man. Totally different situation. Okay, the courts are not going to side with the cities. They're gonna be like, well, you shouldn't have signed that damn contract. Shouldn't have signed contracts that you could not, meet your end. It's basically what they're gonna say. Other questions, chat. Other questions. No major updates, unfortunately, on tickets. Okay, none. Like legit, I'm refreshing the page on the general ticket information on FIFA's website. Still the same 6 questions. So nothing. Okay, nothing. We are in the next week, next Thursday. So we got 9 days to go. 9 days to go, and FIFA has yet to tell us the application link, how they're going to do this, what are the ticket prices yet. You know what? Maybe I should message some of my contacts right now as I give you some time to send some additional questions. But maybe I should contact some of my contacts to see if they can give me anything right now. But yeah, man, just it's a total shit show, to say the least. Okay, it's a total shit show. Okay, total shit show of how we're buying these tickets, man. I wish I could be telling y'all more information, but I just do not have it. Okay. All right. Any additional questions? What other questions do we have, chat? Okay. With that, sorry I don't have any more information on tickets. You're just gonna have to stay put with this. I already did a video on the different Visa cards. Go check out my other YouTube videos on that. Again, I probably have done content on this already, but yeah, that's where we're at with the host with the fan festivals. Again, 6 cities not really in the running at the moment, or at least not having organized their finances. Miami, Atlanta, Seattle, San Francisco, Los Angeles, and Kansas City. The other American host cities said that they will do full 39-day fan festivals. That is where we're at. I'll go ahead and end the live shortly here since I don't have any other questions. And again, we're still waiting on further information on how exactly phase 1 of the ticket sales for the 2026 World Cup will look like, because unfortunately, that's all there is. DC is doing their best to resist the occupation from this White House. Dale, mi gente. Ahí nos vemos pronto. Muchas gracias por su sintonía.